My father thought one text message could shrink me. On a bright August morning in 2025, while I was packing lunch for my 5-year-old twins, June and Mara, he sent a note saying the cruise to Barcelona was for real family only. He had already used my corporate card to pay for the trip, along with the flights, shore excursions, and the suite my sister Tessa had demanded for her engagement celebration. He believed I would swallow the insult, smile for the family photo, and keep funding the life my parents had built on my silence. I did neither. I am Elena Hart, and for 10 years I had owned North Star Logistics, a private global freight and supply company my family never bothered to understand. They saw my plain clothes, my sensible car, my small house, and assumed I was barely getting by. They never asked why my father's metalworks kept landing foreign contracts or how the family estate stayed out of foreclosure after my mother died. They simply let me pay the bills they could not cover, then called me difficult whenever I noticed. 3 years earlier, when my father's company was drowning in debt, I had quietly bought the loans, secured the export routes, and taken the deed to the estate under my holding firm. I let my parents and Tessa live there, rent-free, because I wanted my daughters to know their grandfather, not because I needed gratitude. Tessa, who styled herself as a luxury influencer despite having 30,000 followers and no income, spent weeks whispering that my twins would ruin her engagement photos. My father listened, so when his message arrived, cold and careless, I felt something in me go still. No apologies, no pleading. I kissed June and Mara goodbye, told them Grandma was being silly, and drove straight to my office downtown. By the time I reached the 23rd floor, my legal team was waiting. I showed them the text, and within an hour the work began. First, we canceled every travel booking tied to my corporate account, and reversed the charge with a fraud claim. Then I invoked the default clauses on the freight contract supporting my father's factory. Because his payments were late and his audits were messy, North Star froze every export lane, locked the warehouse inventory as collateral, and suspended the shipping licenses his business depended on. While my attorneys handled the filings, I called the developer who had been trying for months to buy the family estate for a medical office complex. He had already offered a generous price. I accepted on the spot. By 2 that afternoon, I had signed the transfer, ordered an emergency moving crew, and sent them to clear the house while my parents were at the airport. My father had wanted a polished cruise. Instead, he came home to empty rooms. The movers boxed every lamp, chair, and framed photo into storage. The windows were boarded before sunset. A bright notice for redevelopment was posted on the front lawn. That same evening, I closed my personal accounts, moved my daughters into our new apartment overlooking the Thames, and erased every forwarding address. 2 days later, my father and Tessa tried to board the ship in Barcelona. They were turned away because their reservation no longer existed. Their luggage had to be reclaimed, their cards declined, and their return flights booked in panic. Tessa's fiancé saw the scene, the agents, the yelling, the public embarrassment. He ended the engagement before they even left the terminal. When they finally called me, there were 43 missed messages on my backup phone. I listened to the first voicemail on a balcony above the river, while June and Mara built castles in the grass. "Elena, answer me," my father said, sounding small for the first time in my life. "The house is gone. The factory says our roots are frozen. We're being audited." "You told me I wasn't real family," I said when I answered. "So I removed the family privileges that came with my money." He started to protest, but I cut him off. "The estate is sold. Your inventory is secured. Your lawyers have my notice. Do not call my daughters again." Then I hung up, blocked every number, and let the paperwork speak for itself. Without my freight network, the factory collapsed within weeks. Without the house, they moved into a cramped flat above a repair shop. Without Tessa's engagement, her social climb ended in public. None of it was dramatic after that. It was just consequence. Now my daughters attend a private academy near our new home, and North Star has signed its biggest contract yet. I keep that original text on my desk, not because it hurts, but because it reminds me that respect cannot be begged for. It must be enforced. I used to think loyalty meant enduring humiliation for blood. I know better now. Real family does not punish children, spend another person's money, or confuse obedience with love. Real family protects. And when it does not, you are allowed to protect yourself.